Welcome back as we go through NASCAR's continued identity crisis with yet another road course. Yes, another one. And yes, I am getting tired of them too. Don't worry, we're all in the same boat here. But this one is a blue blood road course. It's not. Anyway, point being, we're in Sonoma. We're going to break that down. And then I have a bit of a conspiracy theory on the about the Chicago street course finish that I want to talk about. And then we got some good news in NASCAR and some interesting news in NASCAR. Some will see it as bad, most will see it as bad. But I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's get into this, shall we? So, Sonoma. Everybody knows it. It is back to the old new way, the one that the shorter, faster course, not the one that has the big carousel. They're going back to the old way where you got a couple more passing zones, which was stupid to go away from in the first place. But nonetheless, we're back to the way. I think it's been like that for about 2 years now. I don't remember. Nonetheless, again, this race, I mean, you want to zone out for the first 55 laps? Go ahead. I'm not going to blame you. The stage racing has really affected road courses in the least positive way possible, as stage 2 ends at lap 55. So the first 55 laps, when it comes to strategy, really doesn't matter. As long as you keep yourself up front, it really does not matter. It's that last 55 laps that means everything. And I believe that's a one stop from there. And well, you got three strategies here. You can try to short pit, hope for a caution, and then you cycle up to the front. You can split it in half, which would probably be the least desirable. Or you can run long, so that way you get that fresh rubber to charge hard at the end. And I would really have to see where that goes. It's going to depend on with as far as the leaders go. It depends on who gets the greenest track in front of them when they exit pit lane. Who's going to be able to close via the delta, or are they going to get held up? That is the $1,000,000 question here. So it's going to depend on how wide the field gets spread to see what the best strategy is. Because if you short pit and you get stuck in traffic, well, you're not making up that time needed to pass him via the pit cycle, and you're also going to be on worn tires. So if this is a wreck fest, you're going to want to stay out. Stay out, run it as long as you can until you get into that pit window, and then you come down. Now, if it is a clean race and everybody kind of gets spread out, it's not going to be the worst idea in the world to short pit and see if you can make up ground that way. It just all depends on how the race is going. But those are the two ideal strategies. Now, if you're an idiot and you split it in half, well, you're an idiot. I don't know what else to tell you. But it's you got to have the confidence. The crew chief has got to have the confidence in his call. He's got to know the feel, got to understand the feel, and go from there. I mean, so yeah, that's now everybody is wondering whether Shane Van Gisbergen can be stopped on the road course. This is the track that it's going to happen on. This is the one where Shane does not win. Because this is a more familiar course with the Cup guys, with the everyday Cup guys. And SVG, he's going to be a factor. He's going to be there, no doubt. But, and a part of the conspiracy theory that I have for Chicago, Shane was not the fastest car towards the end of Chicago. It was Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick was running down SVG. He just had Ty Gibbs in his way. So, yeah, Superman can be beat. It's just a matter of timing it and understanding the track. Cup guys, they understand this track very, very well. They have been going here since 1989. I think I said 1989. Yep. Or the shoot added in 1998. Yep, 1989. So that was the. So yeah, Cup guys know this place. They know this very well. So I don't think SVG is going to have that kind of advantage that we've seen at Mexico and at Chicago. So, speaking of Chicago, let's talk some conspiracy theories in the NASCAR edition. So we have all seen the caution that has brought out that ended the race. That's this right here. As you hear something break right about here.
He's been locking up a lot of corners I see on the TV, so you probably just got a flat spot on the left front.
The hardest hit ever recorded in this Gen car's history. I think it was 90 plus G's of force that he hit it. And NASCAR saying, "Oh, I didn't know. We didn't see how hard he actually hit." Well, you have marshals all over the track. You have officials all over the track. So, that's a lie. You had a intro talking about the camera on how you do this race from a officiating standpoint with cameras pointed at this very turn. So yes, the officials did see it. And they did see how hard he freaking hit the concrete barrier. They saw and they knew it. So that's a lie. And as I posted, as 90 plus mile an hour, and NASCAR did nothing for 30 seconds. Just long enough for Shane Van Gisbergen to get across the line. That is that obviously completely unacceptable. Oh, we're going to investigate this, says NASCAR. Oh, bull. You know what happened. Now, let's roll to the conspiracy theory, shall we? It's quite the interesting conspiracy theory. So, we have the finish here. And Tyler Reddick, caution comes out when it's supposed to. They got to re-rack and go. Well, Tyler Reddick has been the fastest car on the track for the last number of laps. And they get a shot to re-rack. There's a very solid chance Tyler Reddick wins this race. Now, obviously, we don't know how much Shane was actually saving and how much was he really saving his stuff. We don't know. But what we do know is that Tyler Reddick was faster the last number of laps leading up to that. Now he might have been slowing down a little bit because Ty Gibbs was getting in the way, and that's Ty Gibbs' prerogative. He's trying to finish the best he possibly can. He's in a playoff battle himself. That's what he's got to do. Not Ty Gibbs' fault by any stretch. But with NASCAR, they intentionally waited. Now they're saying, "Oh, we thought he could get out." You knew damn well he couldn't. And if it was weather related on why you waited, you still throw the caution because driver safety is number one. And then you say that lightning is in the area, we're calling this race. It's that simple. And the NASCAR fans say, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. We get it. We don't want people outside in a lightning storm, obviously." And yet they say, "Oh, we thought he could we could back out," and you know damn well he couldn't. Here's the conspiracy theory. As we all know, 2311 is in this really big lawsuit that we're going to be talking about here in a bit. And news is going to be coming down later this week. And a 2311 car winning with a ruling coming out later this week, if it goes the opposite way of NASCAR, which it did not, by the way. But again, we'll get into that here in a little bit. That is a PR nightmare for NASCAR, and especially Steve O'Donnell, Elton Sawyer, and Steve Phelps. So, the conspiracy theory, my conspiracy theory, NASCAR intentionally waited to wait for the white flag, to throw the caution, just to prevent 2311 in the 45 of Tyler Reddick to not go to victory lane. To make sure that he does not win this race. Let me know what you think about that conspiracy theory, because I think NASCAR is that nefarious. I think this leadership is that nefarious. Because I truly believe if they re-rack this and ran a restart, Tyler Reddick walking out of Chicago with a win and in the playoffs. That's my theory. I think there was intentional race manipulation on the part of NASCAR to keep the 45 out of victory lane, keep any chance of him out of victory lane. That is my belief. That's what I think. Because I think NASCAR truly is that nefarious. It's just a theory. I'm not saying NASCAR actually did. But you look at everything, it doesn't look good. So, let me know what you think on that theory. I'm quite curious to see if anybody else kind of puts those together. I certainly did. That is my belief. So, let me know what you think. And then we got some good news. Good news in NASCAR. Who would have thunk we would have got good news in NASCAR? The Clash returns to Bowman Gray in 2026. This is tremendous for NASCAR. Bowman Gray was a good race. Was a good race in February. It was fun. It was a throwback. The heat races were fun. It was just a fun night, a good way to start off the season as best as you can. without going to Daytona, of course. But again, different discussion. I like this move. They need to keep it that way. Keep Bowman, and I believe the deal, they agreed to a 5-year deal that they will run a cup event at Bowman Gray once a year for the next 5 years. And I'm hoping that this stays as the Clash. Get some sort of normalcy in something. Like, the All-Star race is here, there, everywhere. The Clash has been here, there, everywhere. Just NASCAR just needs to calm down on this. These kind of things. Let Bowman Gray be the season opener. Let North Wilkesboro stay as the All-Star race. Unless you're planning on moving North Wilkesboro as a points race. But again, that's going to be a different discussion for a different day. But this is a great move by NASCAR. Bowman Gray 100% deserves this race. It is a perfect way to kick off the season. I absolutely love this track. And I do hope that in 2026 they do a lot more at explaining the hit. Fox did a good job on this too. It's the one thing they did right in this year. They did do a good job of explaining the craziness of Bowman Gray, why it's the madhouse. I think they go in. I mean, they have a whole Rolodex of stories to tell about this place, and I hope they go through it. They use it. So, there's that. And then the not so good news if you want NASCAR to, if you don't like NASCAR winning and teams losing. The lawsuit, this article by Nick DeGroot of motorsport.com. The lawsuit between 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports and NASCAR is set for December 1st, but another legal battle between the parties have been raging in the meantime. And here's how we got to this point. Prior to the 2025 season, the teams were granted a preliminary injunction to keep their charters while the lawsuit was ongoing in order to avoid irreparable harm. However, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia, recently overturned that decision. On May 19th, Judge Paul Victor, 3 judges, heard arguments from Chris Yates, which is NASCAR's attorney, and Jeffrey Kessler, the 2311 Front Row Motorsports' attorney. And the courts sided with NASCAR, revoking the injunction, and the courts they revoked the injunction, claiming that the teams cannot agree to parts of the 2025 charter and benefit from it while suing NASCAR for the parts they disagree with. Courts told Kessler, "You can't, quote, you can't have your cake and eat it too," for making the decision. The teams pushed back, attempting to appeal the decision by requesting a rehearing with the entire Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. As of Wednesday, July 9th, that request has been denied. It is unclear what other options, if any, the teams have at this point, which means they are likely going to lose their charters within 7 days. If that happens, 2311 and FRM will bring 3 cars to Dover as open entries. And along with having to qualify on time, the teams will suffer significant financial losses and certain contracts will be voided. No one knows what will become of the 6 charters they currently hold, including 2 they've purchased from Stewart-Haas Racing, with the helps of the courts last year. The 2311 fielded a fourth part-time entry as an open car at Chicago last weekend. Missed the race, which, anyway, long story short, now the courts have really pigeonholed the 2311 and FRM to pretty much sign the charter agreement or go bankrupt. Because as an open team, you're not making nearly as much as charter teams. You are making a third less. And on top of that, 2311, I believe, elected to buy that third charter with the understanding that the injunction was in place. So this completely and totally railroads 2311 and FRM. And with them losing their charters, I am unsure of whether this I really don't know how this is going to play out other than really, really bad for 2311 and FRM. Because they have no leverage to continue, and they will quickly run out of money trying to continue. And this is bad on so many levels, not just for 2311, but for the sport as well. Because the chances aren't zero. The chances are now incredibly high that Michael Jordan, a American icon, throws his hands up and says, I'm done. I've tried to help grow the sport, put my name on a sport, on this team, and you guys go above and beyond to screw me over. I'm done. Now, obviously, if that happens, and inevitably, it's probably going to, yeah, that's going to hurt NASCAR. Do not have somebody like Michael Jordan in this. But, I mean, it's going to leave a bad taste in MJ's mouth. And he's going to be going off. Denny Hamlin, he is going to get vocal about it. Obviously. And my other question is, what happens to the actual charters? Are they available to be bought by other teams? Are they in limbo? What's going to happen to these charters? Or I mean, that I have no idea of. Could they be sold? Because if I remember correctly, the way that it is, teams do own the charters, but NASCAR has the right to take them away. And if I think that's how it is. I don't know if it's purely based on performance. If that's the case, then obviously NASCAR is going to have a tough time with that. And then what about the aftermath as far as if the court in the long term rules in 2311's favor and FRM, do they get legal recourse for what was lost in this span of not having the charters? There are so many questions here. If you're a lawyer and just so happen to be a NASCAR fan and understand all of this, please put in the comments below what in the world happens now. Because almost nobody knows. Now, quite frankly, looking at it, as a looking at it unbiasedly, the 2311 and FRM shouldn't have been gotten that injunction in the first place. The charter agreement is a deal. You sign it. Obviously, this should have been negotiated far long ago and should have been hammered out in that time. For whatever reason, it was not. I don't know why. But, and I have heard, I think Richard Childress, I could be wrong on this, but Richard Childress made it sound like you either sign or you lose these charters. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to be losing $60 million in those charters. Yeah, you're kind of forced to sign, especially for someone like Childress, who doesn't have the billions and billions of dollars to burn. So, yeah, I think NASCAR was strong arming a lot of the teams that they could strong arm, and then was able to go to the big wigs like Penske and Hendrick and say, "Hey, everybody else signed. We need your signature." And of course, Penske's not going to care because this isn't a financial. This isn't a financial venture. This isn't a money making venture for Penske or Hendrick. Like they have unlimited budgets. That well is very, very deep, and they have the FU money. They can do this all day long. Whereas Childress and RFK and Spire, they are relying on a little bit of that money to be coming in to soften the blow. So, and obviously 23 with Michael Jordan, obviously 2311 can go as long as they freaking want. But I guess it all depends on how defiant Michael wants to be with NASCAR. That's what it's going to come down to. And that's a lot of millions of dollars to be defiant. And I don't know. If I was NASCAR, I mean, these charters are so dumb. I'm going to be honest here. These charters are so dumb. And it's just a horrific situation with these charters. You have teams that have spent tens of millions of dollars to acquire these charters, and I just don't. These charters have been an absolute mess. Absolute, total, unfeathered mess. These were supposed to kind of cycle out the pay to play guys. It hasn't done that. Still, this, and it was supposed to. It was framed as it's going to help the lower tier teams because they'll be guaranteed every race. Well, the lower tier teams are either sold off the charters to rich people, or they're just barely staying afloat. Barney Visser, who ran Furniture Row, he left. He's out. He couldn't fund it. He wasn't funding it. And then you have Stuart Haas. That's no longer a thing. I mean, and then you have guys like Dale Jr. and Chip Ganassi. They want to get back into it, but Chip Ganassi wants to get back into it. Jr. wants to come up to the Cup Series, but they don't want to pay $30 million, 40, 50, $60 million for one car to get in. And obviously running an open team full season is just not a logical conclusion. And it's really cut off any sort of open drivers trying to make their way in and surge to the top like a Furniture Row. Those days are over under this charter system. Time to get rid of the charters. Go back to the point system, the owner's point system, where the top 35 in points get guaranteed. And this isn't an issue anymore. Go back to the purses. Go back. And there's so many things that they got to go back to. And I understand the thought behind the charter system. But it's shutting people out. It's not inviting people in. You go back to that open style, it invites people in. So, those are my thoughts on it. I don't really have too much else to say on this particular topic. I'm trying to think of what else there is on Sonoma weekend. Give me Tyler Reddick to win the race. So, that's all I got. I'm Dylan Hildreth. This is the Dylan Hildreth Show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on podcast, make sure to hit the 5-star review and the follow button. Get those downloads in. And make sure you are following so that way it automatically downloads, so that way I am readily available for any sort of thing that I am want to go off about on this channel, whether it's NASCAR, Formula 1, college football, NFL, you name it, we got it. So, until next time, see ya.